Hey guys, welcome back to Phil Plays TCG, and today, it's that time of year again, that every quarterly thing we like to do here, where we predict the leader tier for the next set of Dragon Ball Super Fusion World Ultra Limit. We have 7 new leaders to work with, and we gotta find places for all of them here on this tier list, as well as the previous leaders. And today I have not one, but 2 guests here. First and foremost, we have Jamaid here. He's a frequent player here on the channel, and I'm very glad he is here.
Hi, everybody. It's super nice to be here. Thanks for having me, Phil.
Perfect. Thank you. And then, of course, we have the myth, the legend, Cody, popping up on everyone's channel here. But, he's here today to help us put some leaders in places.
I'm putting Starter Coup in bad tier, and that hurts me more than anything else.
Hey, no spoilers here. All right, guys. But before we get into the video, just make sure to hit that like button if you do like the content that we are putting out here. And want to hit subscribe. I'm almost to 2,500 subs, and I'd very much appreciate any and all support you guys are willing to give. But with typical YouTube stuff out of the way, let's get into the tier list here. Brief summary of what we're working with. We have A tier, which are tournament winners, basically leaders that or decks that we can easily see winning events, or at least doing very, very well in them. Then we have B tier, topping decks, which are decks that you can easily see in the top 8, possibly even the top 16, but more so the top 8. Decks that could possibly win events given the right situation. Then we have C tier, which is the rogue decks that do very well into certain situations. Like if there's more of a particular leader or color, this deck may excel a bit more. But for the most part, this deck, isn't going to be doing, incredibly well. If it high rolls, that's pretty cool. Next, we have locals. Keep this deck at your locals. It's going to be a fun time regardless. But just this leader isn't going to be doing anything meta. And then we, of course, have needs help. And I feel like that's self-explanatory. Oh, man. But let's start this off, actually, with the bottom leader here. This Daima Vegeta needs help. Do we all agree here?
I agree. He definitely needs help. I don't know if he's.
I think he might be the worst blue deck.
I think he's the blue deck just because I think every set, the blue leaders that we've gotten are so good, and Daima Vegeta is the first one that really feels like he just kind of misses for blue at least. Yeah,
agree. His ability, it just feels like if it was on his front side, holy crap, that would be amazing. But on the back side, by the time he awakens, how often are you going to actually be using it? And there's not a whole lot of support for it to really take advantage of its ability. So I think it.
I think it's worth pointing out that even if we had like a lot of cards that reduced costs, like a whole bunch of them, he's still not worth playing.
Yeah.
So even if he had support, he's still not worth playing. Like an energy investment into this effect is just not worth it at all. Like you're just not doing it. This isn't like giving you any power. This is controlling your opponent's board. It requires other cards to even function. I think there's a huge miss with this leader. This should have been like 3 bot deckle 1 or 0, or like pay 1, hit a 3 or less, so you didn't need as much cost reduction to actually hit the card.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I think this is just way too weak, and they didn't care to give it enough.
All right.
I think that would have been a way better effect being able to bottom deck a 3 drop for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, like Trunks can bounce a 3 cost back to hand, tap 1 to bottom deck a 3 cost. That would have been awesome. All right, next let's start with we'll continue with Daima Goku. Where do we see this, guys? Jamaid, start us off. What do you think?
I love Daima Goku. I think he's really, really strong as a replacement for that Beerus deck. I see him floating someplace between like tier or rogue tier and topping deck, just because I think that he is one of the best red decks for playing these new red mid-range cards, right? Like a more mid-range and control-y deck. Right. I'd like to see him in B tier just because I do think that he's a very powerful leader for where we were leaving off with the Beerus list for the past sets.
Okay.
I think you're way underestimated. I put him in A. I think this is an insane deck. I think he's fantastic. Like, this leader just does everything you want. It has like the offensive capability that Beerus wish he had. when you flipped. He has the draw on the front side, which means you don't have to just immediately rush your Awaken to even be good at the game. He also gets the negative effect ability that Beerus has, albeit it's half effective. But oftentimes, when do you actually need the full 10 from Beerus to clean up a board? You like rarely do, especially in this format. Like you just don't. Because of the -5 plus like Awakening to Super Saiyan, which is usually what Beerus would do with like a God Kamehameha plus his effect, would still wipe out like every important card that you need anyways. So I honestly think this leader, his mid-range ability, his ability to go wide or play the long game, especially with like the new mid-range and high-end red stuff we've gotten, this leader just super performs. I think he's a hard replacement for Beerus. I think he's a hard replacement for the other mid-range red leaders that we have. And unlike U7, which is like wanting to get like a turn where it has a board live and go like really big into you, this guy can just play a really efficient game. He plays really good cards, and he just has so many ways that his deck can be built, and almost all of them are really good. I would be shocked, like heinously shocked, if this deck won 0 events through the format, because it is just very good.
Okay. That's some good points. I do think this is a really, really good leader. Like in comparison to other red leaders though, I don't know if like people would play this over some of the other leaders we'll be going over, but how about this?
One thing I've seen for red this set, I've seen that the mid-range and the more control-y style of red is finally a real strategy for red. I think in the past we've only been able to go down the line of being a very aggro deck, but I think that we're finally seeing the red mid-range decks take the range for what the color wants to do. So that brings up those those strategies like the Beerus strategy that we've been playing for the past couple sets, even strategies kind of centered around how not Topku, but not Topku, but the starter Goku. Okay. That kind of like battle tricky, making mitigating damage and stuff. I've seen a lot of decks doing that in a really efficient way. So I do think that red gets like kind of a new identity, and I think these new red mid-range decks are going to be the stronger red decks now. Okay,
well, you know what? Let's put Daima Goku up in A tier. I think he's got a lot going on for him, especially with all the new support red's gotten. I think that's pretty solid.
I think really quick, just to point out before we move on to the next leader, a lot of people are going to put this leader, like they're going to rate him low just by reading him, and they're going to like his ability is just really simple. But honestly, really simple effects are oftentimes really powerful. Like in set 1, Starter Ku's effect turned out to be quite good. Like the deck ended up getting quite a few good results. It was fine. So I mean, a simple effect doesn't mean it's bad. And he has a very simple effect, but you got to think it reads 2 cards in value every time you use it, because it's a -5 to your opponent and a +5 to you. So you're getting an extra stage on them and pressure when you're going into their face, and you're having an easier time challenging and contesting their board, all for free. It's costless. It's very good.
Oh yeah, I like that. It's kind of funny seeing the 2 Daima leaders so drastically.
Oh yeah, I know, it's great.
All right, here we go. So I know, Cody, you're going to have a lot to say about this because you texted me today. The first thing I saw from you today was Black Baby's so good.
This is hard for me. Do you want me to just take the reins on this? Because I've played this deck a whole bunch.
Jimmy, have you had any practice with Black Baby?
I played this deck a ton as well. So I'll let Cody start, and then I'll just piggyback off what he says.
I haven't seen a whole lot of. I haven't really tested this deck, so I'll let you two kind of figure out where this goes.
So this is like a hard one for me to rate like reasonably, because it is. Some people have the impression that this deck's like fragile. If you play at the like Rildo line where you're getting like a bajillion attacks on people, like you can just punch through Jiren and just kill Jiren like really efficiently and still keep a hand.
Right.
This deck is just really scary. If your opponent hits you like at all, you can just run with the game. Like if you get like the nuts turn where you're like 3-drop SR into Rildo, and then you get like the full Rildo chain on your Awaken and you just like crack them, this deck feels like the best deck in the game sometimes. Like you just feels like you're doing things that you shouldn't be allowed to do. And there's periods where this just feels like a Masters deck, because you're just doing so many things for free, like 3-drop Rildo, swing with Rildo for 20, then swing with your 3-drop, then combo the Rildo, playing the next one, drawing a card, then swinging for 25, then swinging with your leader, drawing a card, comboing the Rildo to 25, playing the next Rildo, then swinging for 30. Like that's 5 attacks, and all of them except one were 25k on like turn 2 sometimes if you have the marker.
Gross.
Like the amount of pressure this deck can get on people is just absolutely absurd. And it's not like it's going neutral when it does it most of the time, or -1, and your opponent's having to give up way more to defend what you're doing to them than what you're giving up to actually apply the pressure. The deck is like deceptively durable. It can make giant numbers out of nowhere. It's very efficient, and the 2-drop GT Trunks that just came out is one of the best cards in the game, and probably arguably the best card in the color. And you can't really utilize it unless you're playing this leader. So, I mean, like, I think this deck's insane. It's going to see play. It's going to get results. I think this is another A-tier deck.
Okay. Jamaid?
Yeah, no, I like a lot of what Cody said. One thing I will say is that it's the challenge between the two lines is what I'm seeing a lot right now, is that there's people testing the Rodan line that Cody was just talking about, and then kind of just the brainwashed Machine Mutant line with the brainwashed Saiyans. With the brainwashed Saiyans side, one thing I'll touch on for that side, because I just know that both packages are so enticing for people, is I just don't love the fact that you don't retain these attackers. That is something that is fixed if you do play the Rodan line, because they float into each other. But with the Saiyan line, you're producing these attackers, and the first few of them don't swing even into your opponent's leader, so they do take one card, which is where Baby Possessed Boy Form, I think his name is, and to kind of extend your turn and provide your first little bit of combo. But once the deck is swinging, it's the same thing. It produces all of these attacks, and every attack is neutral. When you are swinging 25, right, and then you use that same 25 to combo on your next card, that's going to be a 30, drawing a card, and then swinging with your leader after that, comboing the card that you just swung with, and then using a card like Resisting Destiny, or even just the Sensu Bean replacement that we have, right? If you're going to use that off the Gohan effect, you have so many lines of play that you don't lose residual value. The only thing that you're losing is the bodies on the board that some other decks are able to produce in this kind of more aggro kind of space that this deck exists in, right? Because this deck gets to exist in the same space that decks like U7, our new Vegeta leader, the way that Topku wants to play, all of those really aggressive build-a-board decks kind of exist in the same space, but this deck produces more value but loses attackers. So I think it balances itself really, really well. And I think that it does prove to be a very strong attacking deck. With that being said, I think it averages out to be kind of, for me, it's between C tier and B tier. I think that it's got to be taken by its averages and not just its high tier or high roll, I guess. But I think it averages out really well to be another deck that produces really good numbers and produces really good number of attacks. And I agree 100%. Trunks is an insane card.
Well, you play the Brainwash package in both variants of this deck. Like the whole thing's in there because it's like a huge engine.
It is a huge engine for sure.
Because like the ape just randomly comes down and they'll just play like ape, play Gohan, swing at you with the ape, make you lose one of your guys, combo the Gohan, draw a card, and then like super Gatlic gun you. And it's like, okay, that's 65.
Yep.
I lost one card.
Yep. And I drew, and I got to cycle one of my dead cards.
Like, and they likely picked up like their 3-drop SR to replay to like do something else with next turn. So like they have a lot of things they can do. I think this deck's A tier. Like it's not even good on high roll. It's just good. Like this deck is just good.
Man.
Well, I think it is good. I think it does struggle though. I think we do have to acknowledge the parts of it that it is going to struggle in. It does struggle into that hard control matchup, right? Those harder control.
I think that's where it's best. I think it's best in hard control because they don't get the energy to get to the point where they can completely answer you before they're risking being dead.
I feel like
red hard control isn't blue's control. What are they doing? They're gonna sickle my 2 dudes to have nothing on their board, and I'm gonna just rebuild my board and then just keep attacking them.
No, I'm not worried about the sickle. What I'm more worried about is swinging 30 into a 35 Gatlic gun, or swinging 30 into, like the cantrippy defense where you're putting resources into an attack and then they're putting no resources into it and getting out of the attack, and then playing the longer game until you pit her out. Just because they have just so many more cards that build their hand. And this deck will burn out eventually. Like, not just because I feel like it is. So it's a 50 card list that has to find those 2-drop Trunks to recycle its cards out of drop, or else it's going to run out of cards in hand.
I mean, the 2-drop Trunks is just like snapped. It's really powerful, but I just don't see a world where this deck isn't like an A tier deck right now. It just has everything. It's not squishy. It's durable. It can pick up like everything. It can find almost the whole deck. So when you're filtering out all your mutants, you get to actually just draw your brainwashed. Your bodies are huge. Yes. So the 1-card defense thing for blue is like, they do that to any color, but the difference is you're applying a secondary attack with the energy that you spent. So the 1-card defense actually is a hard -1 to blue. And if they're keeping the energy up to use their cantrips defense, they're not actually producing things to contest or challenge you or even threaten you. So I mean, in that form, you're getting tempo on your opponent because they're not committing their energy to playing threats. So I mean, like, you get to the point where they have to use Sickle, essentially, because Gohan can't answer your board because it's like mostly 4-drops.
It is a lot of 4-drops. No, I think that like on a turn 3, though, just a simple Videls, swing into one of your battle cards, get back the kind of like free combo power into leaving up a Gallic Gun or a whatever the Saiyan's Pride, plus 20k draw on opponent's turn. I think that those are the plays that are going to kind of make this deck hard to push through, because that's what this deck is good at doing, is pushing through. And there are decks in the format that are just really good at stopping the push through. I do agree with everything that you say. I just feel like it's a balancing act, right? I do think that cycling your mutants and cycling into your drawing your brainwash cards is really good. But at the same time, if you do cycle and you see, let's say that you cycle, I forgot if it's a top 4, top 5 searcher, but if let's say that you see two drop trunks, top 5. So let's say that you see two drop trunks in that, and you have to put them at the bottom of your deck. That the rest of the game is very, very much more difficult for you because you don't have access to as many of those turns of just grabbing back your resources.
Well, I mean, you don't have to most of the time. Like against blue specifically, they're playing like 14 zeros right now. You just attack them. Just keep attacking them. They just die to the number of attacks.
14 zeros is arguable. I was building with Dane last night and I saw that his list wasn't on that many zeros.
Look, Dane plays very weird. Okay, we're not going to count what Dane but when I look at lists out of like Australian regionals and everything like that, and they're on like 14 zeros, like in testing right now, and all of our other high-end players are on like 14 zeros in their Vegeta deck because all the zero combo cards are just too good to not run. It's like, if they're on like even 12 zeros or 10 zeros, which I mean, you got like your Gohans, you've got Gatliks, and if they're tapping out early, they're not holding up Gatliks. So like they've got to be playing all those. So they're on at least 12 if you count just like Gohan, Videl, Gatlik, and then like maybe the double striker. So I mean, it's very easy for a deck like Baby to just push right through them, and they oftentimes can't even defend.
All right, I am gonna probably cut this one down just because we've been on this card for about 10 minutes now.
I think it's an A tier deck. I personally think it's A tier, but if you want to put it in B, it's fine.
I think we might like swap these or swap some leaders around near the end of the video, but we'll leave him here in B tier for now. I think you both made fantastic arguments. I'm very excited to play this deck personally. But this one here, let me take the reins on this one here real quick. I think Boo, the new yellow Boo, goes in B tier because he is, first of all, he's like incredibly aggressive, which we've seen yellow can't, if in a yellow aggressive deck, those can be pretty solid if played correctly. He's got some amazing tech cards, cards that work great in generic yellow, but also specifically in this deck. He's got hand destruction. He can swing a lot. Multiple times in a single turn. He's just got some amazing cards like the 5-drop Kid Boo that plays a card, You know, there's some amazing play lines in this deck. And yeah, I think he belongs in B tier. What do you guys think? We'll start with you, Cody.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I think B tier is perfectly fine for this leader. I think he's the best yellow deck we have right now. I don't really think it's close. I think Vegeta probably would have been there if not for the fact that Boo got access to like a better fight against Jiren than the other yellow decks, because you can like double Final Explosion on 5 as opposed to 6. So you can actually challenge both Jirens a turn sooner, which is humongous for this deck. That alone is like being able to kill 2 Jirens on a turn sooner is like good enough to make this the best yellow deck. But he also has like really good pressure. He has like multiple different ways he can play. You can go like this hand control route where he tries to keep you on like 5 cards while he's just slowly picking at you. He has this route where he can get really aggressive with cards that play other cards or 2-drop 30k attackers or 30k dual attackers off of his 5-drop or off the Bobbity. He has so many things that he can do and so many ways he can play, and he's just good. I think he's a very solid B tier deck. He's definitely like a middling B tier deck for sure. He'll get result.
Sick. What do you think, Jamaid?
Yep, I agree totally. I think it's the same thing. And he's also just a fan favorite right now. So people are testing him in a ton of different ways. So it's one of those decks that we'll just see a lot in the meta. But yeah, no, he just feels very, very good. And I think that's a perfect placing for him.
Yeah, I also love this. I love this outfit for him. The Gotenks jacket just works with him.
Yeah. I agree.
All right. Next, we have Green Vegeta. I'm not gonna lie, he's probably the deck I have the least amount of experience with in these new leaders. Who here has gotten probably some good practice with them?
I mean, it's a green deck, so I've played a ton of this.
I didn't play it that much, but I've played against it a whole lot.
Okay, well, Jamaid, from the player standpoint, where do you think this guy goes?
I'm enjoying him with where we're putting these other leaders. I think he's right there next to Super Baby and Maj and Boo, just because I think that his ability is just it's this really strong ability by itself, right? And then you add in the package. It has a ton of individual cards in the package that are really, really nice. The thing that I like about Vegeta is that the battle cards that you can play off him are deceptively all cantrips. Like the Raditz can grab something out of the drop. You have both the Gokus who will cycle themselves. The promo will draw a card on play if you play it off of an ability.
Yep.
And then the 50k attacker that you have to play to contest certain boards, he does replace himself even though he doesn't live on the board like all the other cards in the deck. I also really like the interaction of the 5-cost Gohan. 5-cost Gohan feels like he really takes the package and just cinches it up really, really nicely, where you're not forced to play this like low to the ground aggro deck it is a low to the ground aggro deck, but you're not having to play out all your battle cards as soon as you can on curve and turn them all sideways. It does feel really nice establishing Gohan and then going wide on the next turn just because Gohan protects.
Okay.
So I think the deck just feels really, really strong. I love him in the B tier just because he has really high aggro potential, but he also doesn't like have those faults of losing like hand size or having those faults of not having removal.
Okay, I dig it. Cody, anything to add on?
So I think he's not really an aggro deck. He doesn't like get a bajillion attacks like Baby can do if Baby's popping off, right? He's like really efficient. Like he plays cards that replace themselves. His cards are like decently well statted, but he's like doing a whole lot of things that are like getting him like tempo on the opponent. And especially when he plays like 5-drop Gohan, the whole game, like against some decks, can just turn flat on its head. Because some decks just can't do anything when you do that. Like they're stuck. Like Yellow, once you went 5-drop Gohan, that's like it. Like they're in big trouble. Like 5-drop Gohan into another body is just a crazy play. And oftentimes when I struggle against this deck, it's never when they've tried to be aggressive. It's when they've tried to be really efficient, getting a Gohan established with other attackers, and then kind of looping ape into ape into ape. That's when it starts getting hard. That's when I find this deck is really powerful. And then like some of them are on the 5-drop extra card that plays like 2 dudes from energy, letting you go like 3 bodies in 1 turn, which is just disgusting.
Right.
It's a good deck. I think it's really good. This deck could be an A tier deck. I haven't played it enough to really, really give it that. I don't know if it's quite there. It's definitely good. And I 100% think it's at least B tier deck. It's definitely above Boo. Like, I think it's probably like, if we're putting Baby at the top of B, he's like right under him.
Okay. I'll trust you on that one. I really do like Boo, but I can definitely see the package that Vegeta has is very good, and we've all seen Green can do some really disgusting things. So, okay, I'll trust that. Next up, Gohan. I'm just gonna throw him in locals. It sucks. I hate to do this. I really do. I really love the artwork on this leader. And I know UniX is probably in the same boat as me, where we're very disappointed with how this archetype and this leader panned out. It's a fun leader. It does some cool, neat things, but nothing that is going to impact the meta whatsoever. I feel like the best cards we got in blue this set just benefit other blue decks, and Gohan just really doesn't do anything. He's fun, but that's about it.
Yeah, he has like this cute thing where if he gets like 2 secret rares on the board, he's kind of annoying, but if he never gets 2 secret rares, he really kind of sucks. Yeah, I don't know. They really missed on this deck. They try to give blue a whole new identity like every set basically, it seems. And this last one they went with a self-milling strategy where they're like, oh, you want to deck out as fast as possible so these Vegetos are cracked and you like play from your drop. And it just missed the mark. You're playing things that are Vegito should have came out 2 turns sooner. I'll just come out and say it. The Vegito should have been like on 4 with everything going properly as opposed to like 5. It just should have been 4 or 5, and that should have been where the game plan stopped. And they really this deck just didn't get pushed hard enough.
Yeah. What do you think, Jamaid?
Yeah, from the outside looking in, I haven't tested this deck, but watching you play it, it's definitely the deck that I wanted to test like the most as far as like a fun standpoint and like playing Fusion World in like a different capacity. I think this leader looks so cool. But I completely agree with just everything you guys are saying. I think you guys just knocked it on the head. But for everybody looking for a fun deck, this deck is so cool.
The artwork is sick though. The leader has like cool art. Love that artwork.
Same, dude. When I saw this alt art, I'm like, damn, I want this. I don't even care if it's bad. I still want this. And finally, we have the last leader in set 4, Red UI Goku. I know I've talked to you both about this, but it's definitely going in one of the top tiers.
It's A tier. You just put it there.
Just put it in A.
Yeah, it's so I'll spoiler alert, Jiren's in the same tier. Like all 3 of these decks are A tier decks.
Oh boy.
I don't think anybody's going to argue that Jiren's not A tier. He's 100% there. These are the 3 red decks that you play. All right, they just be honest with you. Jiren and UI Goku are basically the same deck, just mildly different in how they operate. Jiren is better against the wide decks. UI Goku is infinitely better against the tall decks. Like Jiren typically should lose to UI Goku if they're 1v1ing, but Jiren would have a much easier time with a deck like Androids or Baby or Green Vegeta. Goku would have a harder time in the very go wide matches, but he can still fight those just fine. UI Goku as a deck is fantastic. People were like, this deck's not great because it doesn't draw. And quick little maths for you. You basically get 3 cards in value and raw stats in an effect on your turn, and then 3 cards in raw value on a stat, like in stats on an effect on your opponent's turn. So while your opponent draws 1 card, you've went 6 cards worth of stats. So it's like you are infinitely outvaluing them in terms of just effect value, but you're not getting the raw card advantage. So you can still outvalue your opponent with just like an effect that gives you stats. This shouldn't have been both turns. I don't know what they were thinking. This affecting both turns is crazy. He contests essentially any board state in the game. He just has a period where he creates inevitability. Eventually, this leader alone will threaten to win the game. So you have to actually win once he flips pretty quick, or just get beat to death by a giant leader and a giant battle card every turn. And there isn't a deck that does a better job of playing one big idiot and then hitting you than this deck. So this deck's just fantastic. It handles good wide boards decently well with red removal, challenges them. It still has to defend them. Between TOP Arena or Android 17 SR, using your leader effect auto blocks any non-comboed on attack in the game. He's just really good. The amount of cards he saves you with his effect is insane. And all 3 of these red decks are absolutely A tier decks.
Oh yeah, I've talked to my buddy who was a big One Piece player, and I was telling him about UI Goku's ability. He's like, "That sounds stupid. Why does Bandai keep giving Red Goku these cracked abilities?" I'm like, yeah, they like Goku. He's the main character, and
it's
every
very
Goku
good.
has to be good. Oh man, but yeah, I think it's a good. I think it's a good solid spot for both Goku and Jiren. All right, guys, that is the all the new leaders that we have gotten, and we'll just hop into the older ones. Probably be a little quicker on these ones because these ones.
Yeah, we know these guys.
Yeah, a lot of these haven't changed a whole lot, but since we're doing red, we might as well just finish up with red. Top coup locals, we all in agreement?
Yeah, like locals.
These locals are maybe low C tier. He has some cool stuff he can do now. He can generate a lot of advantage. I just don't think he's going to do anything.
Yeah, I think He's better than Gohan.
Oh, he's probably better than Gohan.
Oh, Gohan, why?
Yeah, it's some cute lines, but he's still suffering from his ban.
Yeah, it's his fault that we don't have Roshi and Kefla.
Yep, more so Kefla for sure.
Yes. Then let's see other red leaders. We have Beerus. Beerus is still good. Well, I mean,
Beerus is still good, but you take that 50 and just put him in Daimaku. So it's just, for me, the Beerus leader himself. Because, like, when you're looking at Beerus leader, his value is the cards that say, if your leader's got disruptions, we're looking at, like, 3-drop Beerus, and then, all those cards. But omitting those cards from a Goku Daima list, you're still going to be on a better list. So for me, I feel like if you're putting Beerus like someplace like too high on the list, it's just like, just play Goku, because they're pretty much the same things. I would say put it in C tier for its identity more so than like how good the deck could be as a 50. Because every red deck as a 50 is going to be pretty solid with these new cards. I think that the individuality of what Beerus is compared to the other decks, it's just like a C tier deck in my opinion.
Okay.
Like, honestly, I would even, like, in my own little magical tier list, I'd have like a little tiny box that says Beerus still really good, but you should just play Daima, and he would just go right there. Like, he's like a B tier deck, but like you just don't play him over Daima. Like, he's still fantastic. You just don't have a reason to run him over the better leader that's just him.
Right. So that makes sense. I think he's still a fantastic deck in his own right, but you just play Goku Daima. So
like he very well could just be like just slightly worse than Daima, and that's literally the reason he's here. Is like you would just play Daima over him. It's like the same deck.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, it's not like we're saying anything bad about Beerus. It's just he's good, but Goku Daima's better.
No, if you want to take Beerus and top with it because you just hate Kid Goku and you like the big purple cat, feel free. I mean, you can still top with this deck. It's still fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, for all the Beerus mains watching, definitely still a B tier, like a B or an A deck, right? Like, it's just in the kind of situation we're talking about it, and I guess is where my point's.
So we would say, is Beerus like a little higher up in this, or is he kind of like bottom of B tier?
I mean, his position in B probably isn't really relevant because people are just going to play the better version of him. But essentially the difference between him and Daima is like not super duper high. It's just Daima's slightly better, so he's like tier higher.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's fair. I think we'll leave him here. He's just kind of like worse than Daima. Let's do U7 Goku. I think U7 Goku is very, very solid, but I don't know. I have a hard time placing him anything above C tier because of the same problems that he's had in the previous couple sets where, like, you build a wide board, it's awesome. But when you lose that wide board, you just kind of run out of gas with him.
I think he's just, I don't even know if he makes it this series. Probably just locals at this point.
Damn.
Like, I don't even think he's worth playing. Daima is the better go wide deck. It's the better mid-range deck. And then you've got two other control decks in red to play and Beerus to play. Like, you've no reason to play this guy.
But like, he's still got really, really good U7 cards, and we got, once again, more U7 cards this set. So
okay, let's be real. All of them just say permanent. If it's your opponent's turn, gain power. So he's not really going to be using it.
Yeah, it's just the 5-cost Frieza is like the only card that's really
that's really it.
Being a body on the board is really, really nice, but
okay, that's fair. All right, Goku, sorry you're going into locals. And then finally, good old reliable here. Starter Goku. Cody, I feel like
locals.
You should. I was gonna say, I feel like
he's
get
just
the
locals. Yeah, like just play Daima. Like, literally the same argument for him as Beerus is just play Daima. Like, he's probably Starter Goku's probably better than I'm putting him, but I'm just saying you literally have two other leaders. Probably 4 other leaders in your color you should be playing before you even consider playing this guy.
Right, he literally is just worse Daima.
Yeah, like Beerus is worse Daima, Starter Goku's worse Daima. Just play Daima.
All right,
because literally it's their two effects. Just like cut Beerus in half and remove activate battle from Goku, and it's like the same thing.
All right. Quick and right to the point. We like it. All right, next, we're in agreement. The cooler is just still needs help.
I'm gonna pretend the card they released for him didn't even come out.
Yeah, I don't know why they keep doing the thing where it's one card per set, and it's just like such a subpar every set. Just give us a good.
My problem is all they had to do to make that good was just make it a meta cooler. That was it.
Yeah.
Because then you could do like, you'd have like this crazy play where you could go like meta cooler 4-drop, play 2 of these guys from the drop, and then you activate, restanding the cooler core, draw 2 cards, then play like the 2 guys that would untap themselves. And then like on your opponent's turn, you go to block with 1, and then you untap it with your leader, and then you draw 2 more cards on your opponent's turn. That would have been so cool. And they were like, they just didn't do that. The cooler literally doesn't have any place in the game.
Lame.
Yeah, Bandai, please just release like 3 cards next set that support cooler and make them actually good.
I would like
instead
that.
Of 1.
I pulled this leader and I love the altar on this card, but then like just not being able to use it since set 1 has been rough.
He was great in set 1 because he was like fitting the aggro idea more, but I mean, it just sucks because he doesn't have any identity, and every other yellow deck is better. Big
rip. Speaking of yellow decks that are better, I'm gonna go on a limb and say this deck is rogue tier. Yellow Majin Buu, the fat boy Buu. So
I think I can agree with that.
Yeah. So he is just a very fun playstyle. First off, he helps keep down a lot of wide board aggressive decks by playing cards that tap down your opponent's. Well, I guess keep your opponent's cards tapped down. He can play a free card every turn, which can be a blocker, which in certain situations can be really cool. It helps defend you, but he does have access to a lot of the new yellow stuff that is Majin Buu related. Sure, it doesn't work as well on this deck as it does the new Buu tanks, but it's still really, really cool. Yellow's really, really annoying to certain decks that like to go wide. The only problem is this deck does start out really, really good, but then like kind of loses steam later on. But I think he's just a solid deck, and I think he's a very good definition of rogue.
Yeah, it's a pitter patter for sure.
He got support from like the new Buu cards once he flips, especially. Like, you can't use the Bobbity until he flips, but
true. But
he's fine. He's just fine. You play him.
Yeah, the Wicked Soul stuff is really cool with Bobbity Spaceship being able to just you play a free card, but then also keep something on your opponent's board tapped down. That's 4 or less. Pretty solid. But then, all right, since we're in yellow, let's move on over to Yellow Vegeta. We all know that we agree that Buu is the new best yellow leader, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Yellow Vegeta's bad. It's just, I mean, he didn't really get a whole lot of support. I think there's like, well, no, we did get the 5-drop Vegeta that works really well in this, but it's also just generically good yellow. Do we want to put Yellow Vegeta in Rogue or B tier?
I think he's like Rogue because he doesn't have. It's so important that yellow players have a way to contest Jiren because it's going to be a popular deck.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that Buu does it a turn sooner and like still has good, like still is able to put better numbers into Jiren, like makes his matchup into Jiren and even UI because of that just so much better. That I just don't see a reason to play Yellow Vegeta unless like everyone's on green or like everyone's on, I don't know, black. Yeah, he'd be pretty good against black.
Okay, I can see that. What do you think, Jamid?
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you guys. It just doesn't. I feel like Yellow Vegeta is actually just a super unexplored deck, especially in this meta. I haven't seen it explored too much, but where it's at right now with like the information that we have and what we can do with it, I do think that it is in C tier. Just because with all the cards that you want to be playing for Yellow Vegeta, I feel like a ton of them are just better in Yellow Majin Buu.
I dig it.
So.
All right, perfect. Then let's see, Ginyu. Do we just throw him in locals?
I don't think so I don't actually think he's a locals deck, but I just think he's like a C tier deck. He does something really cool now with the spaceship, being able to like just get in untap 2, like, and I mean just literally have I'm just gonna untap 2 of my energy now play.
Yeah.
Like just having access to that is insane. Normally you have to be able to like pay 3 to get the untap 2, because you like pay 3, play Raccoon, play Gin, you get the untap 2. But with the ship, you literally like board it early, and then it just at any point you can just tap it and untap 2 your energy, which means his leader effect is super accessible. And he's still getting you. Sometimes he just has a huge board and puts like 14 attacks into you. So I think he's like C tier, and some of the decks rank like he's really good in the UI Goku if you can kill him before he reaches 6.
The Goku killer.
Yeah, like if you just want to go around and kill the UI Goku players, I guess, or the random people who still think that they're gonna play Cell, you can play Ginyu and just go and abuse them, I guess.
I love that. Oh man, so we're in agreement, C tier on this one, just because he's got the lull.
He's got a good enough matchup against like any of the slower decks that I think you can put him in C tier. Yeah.
My only lull with that is that since we have U7 in locals, I don't think he's better than U7 at being a go wide deck, just because U7 has cards that do stuff. So I still see him in locals someplace around that same tier, but it's kind of the same.
No. It's Ginyu just gets way more attacks. He's just way better at attacking. That's all you need. I don't care about the effects of the cards. I care about how many attacks he's putting in you, and Ginyu is going to be able to put way more attacks into you.
I do care about the effects of cards. I still think he's locals, but I don't. I just feel like just because the number of attacks is just a very defendable thing to defend against. But again, I feel like the
number of attacks is better than the size of the attacks. Like if I have the option to put like a 35k or 320s. I'll often do the 320s because it checks their hand for potentially far more value than the one big swing. So Ginyu just having more attacks is like really important.
No, I totally agree with that point. I just feel like the value of the attacks is really important. So like U7, for example, like as opposed to putting like 2 or 3 20s into my opponent's theater, I would rather put the Gohan, like hit something for 15, or even like a Kefla play or something like that. But at the same time, like I was saying, it's like they're pretty much the same tier between Rogue and local. So.
No, I think Ginyu's better because he puts more stuff on the board. That's like he gets to play more cards.
I think I can see both sides. I think we'll just leave him in Rogue tier, but I think he's like going to be like the bottom of Rogue tier, just because he's got like a good matchup into slower decks, but I feel like he doesn't do the aggression thing as well and consistently. So I think bottom of Rogue tier is going to be fine for him. But I could also kind of see him being at high locals. But hold on, do we have another yellow? Yes, how can we forget? The Lord Emperor, Frieza. God, Frieza just feels like he's always going to be generically good, but like in this meta, is he just another rogue leader?
I mean, I've been playing him with this set, like trying him out, like with the Boo package, the 5-drop and the 3-drop SR. I think he's fine. I don't know. It's like hard to place him. I just think all these like good random yellow decks are just like C tier decks for the most part.
Ugh, big sad. I think
because like if you look, yellow has like a really good card pool, but like they just have so many other little problems, like just not having specific tools that keep them back. Like if Jiren wasn't a deck in the format, yellow would actually be pretty good. Like that, yeah. That's a problem, right? Like we're in a position where there's just a deck that essentially answers a color.
Oof.
Like by existing.
I mean, green does that for blue, but
oh come on. Come on. Blue's fine.
Yeah, blue is like arguably best just color altogether. It just has like one slight small weakness to green.
Yeah, I know, it's my PTSD talking. I'm sorry.
I just think this is my thing with like yellow. It's just so close, but there's one of the most played decks just beats you so bad usually that you just, if you're playing yellow at a major event, every single time you're going into a new round, you are clenching your butt cheeks because you're just hoping that it's literally any other deck than Jiren. You're like, as long as it's not Jiren, I can play the game. And then you sit across from Jiren and it's the worst event ever. So it's like all these decks potentially could top or even win an event, like legitimately, if they just dodge Jiren all day. So
that's true.
If one of the most played decks is a hard out tier color, you can't have it be like super high tier. And like Boo is the best at fighting that one hard out to his color. So he gets to be in the higher tier.
Okay,
so
I dig it.
I think that all these yellow decks are just C tier.
Oh man, rip to yellow players for now at least. All right, we're almost at an hour. We'll try to speed through these a little quicker. We'll go through black real quick just because we only got 2 other leaders to work with. Bardock, is he still good?
He's good, but he's just worse than GT now, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So we
It's really changed in that like kind of black sand space. They've just gotten a couple new cards, but the new cards that they've gotten aren't like detrimentally amazing to make them like insane. But I think they hold the same spots that they held in the last set.
Okay. So I would say probably Bardock and GT Goku can go into B tier because they're both good.
GT Goku, I think GT Goku could be an A.
Really?
It's just very good now. Yeah, the faster double strike is like really powerful or really powerful. The access to being able to finally play the 1-drop pan and it be really consistent, like as a searcher, because you just have so many named targets now.
Okay.
That gained a whole bunch. It has the ability to play really long, and it has the best late game of the black decks, especially now with like how much it can get out of its energy. It's still fantastic. Like this deck got a lot of its problems addressed in this set by getting the faster double striker and not having to go minus for the effect.
Okay.
It's the same deck, but it's just greatly improved.
Okay.
It was like between this and Baby are like very good.
Okay. So
Black
I guess
still holds it in like that kind of tier 1 deck, and it's just like the conversation is always like, oh, is it Black Bardock or is it Black Goku GT? But they're essentially the same deck, and I think that Goku GT just gets to hold that spot in the tier 1 that Black Bardock was holding last set.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it just got buffed, and it's gonna have a better time against decks like Jiren, like Daima. UI Goku, it can kind of play going wide against, and then like making its cards harder to remove. It's just got the best red matchup, and I think red's going to be a very, very, very powerful color.
Okay, I like that. So that's done with black. So now let's hop into green. We'll just throw Piccolo in here and needs help because the one card.
Let's not even talk about it. Let's just put it in there and just not say anything. No context. Just he's there.
Rip.
Everybody will know why.
Yeah, everyone knows why. Sorry, Piccolo. I love you. Wish you were better. All right. I feel like Jamaid, you can tell me where this guy goes because he's your boy.
Yeah, I'll try to make it super, super quick. So the thing with Cell is last set, right? We're just kind of piggybacking off what was going on last set. Cell got to hold this position where he got to fight Jiren really well, a lot better than the androids did, just because it's not relying on a super go wide swing at leader strategy. It actually has answers to Jiren. But the problem with that is it held a position where you're playing a green deck, you want a good blue matchup, and you want to auto-win blue, but you don't want to just lose to decks like black or just lose to decks like Jiren. So having Cell as the option to like kind of rotate into, for me, was just really nice because it offered great value. It's a really good mid-range deck. The problem with Cell this set is that Android 17 got a warm greeting. So now you're answering Jiren's a lot smoother, and a warm greeting also answers your Bardock matchup for those Bardock players that just tap 3, play Bardock on turn 2, swing, combo, swing. When you try to swing into it, super combo, reset, blah, blah, blah. Really aggressive. Having that just be just so much more answerable by Android 17 just makes Android 17 such a better choice in the same way that Daima Goku is a better choice for Beerus. So I think that for its individuality and for its kind of difference of what it can do, unfortunately, it's dropped all the way down to C tier. In my opinion, just because you just would play not the same 50, but you would play the same concept in an Android 17 list because your outs are just so much better.
Right. Okay. I like that. I'm
okay.
Out of respect for you, though, I'm going to put it in top of C tier.
My quick input on this is it's got one really sick thing that it can do now. If it goes second and it like high rolls with the Cell 3-drop, oh man, this deck is insane.
Yes.
Any game you do that, you just like win. It's so crazy.
Yeah. I was testing the other day. We played like 12 matches and I only got to do that like twice. So unfortunately, it's just so hard.
It's not consistent, but boy, it's so sick.
Damn, rip Cell. I do really like Cell as a leader, though, and Jamaid pilots it perfectly.
Oh, thank you.
Next, we have Gohan. Locals are C tier, as I feel like this leader is going to end up.
It's locals, in my opinion, because it's just the green leaders. Because they want to do their game plan so similar. Android 17 is just so far and away such a good strategy that it makes these other strategies in comparison to not only Android 17, but its other matchups in the meta so much worse. So I feel like it just scales it down. And I love Gohan so much. And his ability is so good. But I just feel like his position in the meta just keeps getting worse because A17 keeps on getting better. And as well as other colors.
I could see
Yeah, that's my argument with Gohan as well. Is like he had a position last set, like the set that we're in right this second, because he had the 3-drop that could answer Jiren's earlier, which allowed him to like still continue pressuring Jiren, like without having to rely on Android 17's effect and stuff like that. So he had a purpose last set, and he did get a couple of results. He didn't get any wins, but he had several tops. So, but now Android 17 has Warm Greeting. So you just have no reason to play this guy. If that card would have been locked to Saiyan only, we'd actually have a position. Like this guy would actually have a purpose in the format. Yeah, because then he would still have the quick answer with combo power in his deck to Jiren. But yeah, with the Warm Greeting being playable on Androids, there really just isn't a reason to play this leader.
Oh man, how the mighty have fallen. I'm also gonna throw Broly in locals because he really doesn't do much either. Like nothing's really changed with him. Same thing with like for the reasons that Gohan could go into locals, I feel like Broly, fits into locals as well.
Yeah, we'd have to be in a format where the entire like every single person is playing Yellow Ginyu for you to want to play this guy.
Yeah. I'm bawling my eyes out as I say this. So many tears are falling, but Broly might need help. Broly might need help, honestly, just because it's hard. It's so hard out here to play Broly. Just because like any situation where like I want to play Broly because X is so bad. It's just so there's just always going to be.
Oh, but he's better than Piccolo though.
Yeah. Better than Piccolo. Okay. Better than Piccolo.
Okay.
I think he's locals. I don't think he's quite needs help yet, but I think he's just being a 25k body that can still draw cards is still pretty okay. So I think he's just the locals deck.
I'll put him like bottom of locals, but like he would probably go at the bottom of locals or top of needs help. But yeah, I think you're right. He's kind of like borderline. He got a card. He got a Turles card this set.
You don't talk. No, he didn't. We don't talk about it.
I'm crying my eyes out.
He didn't get a card this set. You don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. What am I thinking?
This is easy. He's right. He's an A tier.
Oh,
still A
yeah,
tier. He gained. Yeah, he gained a searcher. That deck is still great. This deck's just fantastic. It's just gained.
He just officially does all, and like every argument for a way to beat him is now answered, because they're not answered in the sense that like he beats it, but he has an answer now, which is a really big problem. And it's a consistent, it's a good answer for everything.
Okay, I like this. Well, yeah, no, it's crazy how he went from the worst deck in set 1 to the best green deck like go for the last 3 sets now.
Yeah,
it's crazy. But yeah, I think he's fantastic. Like the deck's good. This is the source of my PTSD.
Top of A tier at the very front.
Ooh, you think?
I think everything else has to try to beat that deck.
Oh, so like Jiren's worse than androids?
Yeah, because now you're just on curve every time they play a Jiren. You're playing a Warm Greeting.
Okay.
Every single. It's really wrong.
Rough. All right. Now, the last but not least, my favorite color. We're hopping into blue. Let's see. Satan City Goku, I feel like, is a rogue deck at best, or bottom of B tier, but I think just because of how you have to play him and how like RNG plays a role in it, I think he belongs in C tier.
Yeah, you would know better than me, honestly, especially because you tested so much last set. So I know that like the only new cards it got was like out of the starter deck and a couple set cards. So it
pretty much got the one Videl, and which allows you to play the 2-drop a turn early, but most people have actually said that it's not even worth playing because you have to make sure you have a card in your discard pile by like turn 1 to even use it on turn 1. So like, yeah, you could play it later on and play your Videl for 1 less, but like at that point in time you might want to use that energy to play something else. The Great Saiyaman 2 though did help. It did help make the deck a bit better. But I just feel like with how you have to have so many cards on board to trigger a lot of the Satan City effects, it's easy for your opponent to board wipe you, especially with red being as prominent as it is. Red's just going to easily wipe out your board, and then you're kind of like, well, that sucks. Now I got to build that board back up. I think it's cool. I think it's a really neat archetype, but it's just not going to be doing much in the meta, personally. I think C tier is perfect for it. Cody, did we lose you?
Kind of agree. It's just like I think the blue decks are fairly reasonable to rate. Like the good ones are going to be like very similar. Like, to be completely honest with you, like we already know Vegeta's going to be A tier. It's not moving.
Yeah.
It just gained some new stuff. Still good. Like Trunks, maybe I don't know.
I think Trunks with some of the newer stuff that we've gotten, like Jamaica and I were talking about the Trunks with the new SR Daima Vegeta, like being able to now hit 5 costs is really, really cool. But just good generic blue stuff. I can see Trunks being in either low B tier or top of C tier in some instances.
I'm feeling like C tier, like high C tier, because mainly I'm putting it there because that's a safe spot to put him. That's where I'd put him.
Okay.
I don't have enough experience on him. He could very well be a B tier deck.
I agree.
Now there is one blue deck I do have experience on. Just one though.
Well, I know which one you have, and that's Goku Black.
No, what? That's not the one.
Zamasu.
Yeah.
Oh man, Zamasu. All right, Dane's waiting for this moment here. I know it.
Dane's waiting for this. So Dana, I've helped you out. I've played this deck a whole bunch for this set. That's the only blue deck I've actually played this set, like more than maybe 10 games. I honestly think he's really good. The 3-drop Go Tanks was a humongous buff to this leader. The not requiring seven cards to function in some of the new stuff has been a huge boon to this guy. Zamasu's biggest issue was actually like keeping cards in his hand as the game went on. Now that problem's completely solved. He has a humongous hand, like the whole game, and he can get back to it effortlessly. Yeah, he gets a nice fat hand every game. It's very efficient, very tanky. This is probably the tankiest deck in the game. And the new Vegito is actually a pretty good card to play for the secret rare to actually close games out. You're not playing for like the self-milling part of it as much as you're playing because it's just a giant dual attacker. But if you do happen to turn him into a 50k dual attacker, it's kind of nice. It's just a really good deck. I think this is actually a solidly B tier deck. It could even be an A tier. It's been winning a lot of its games. It is very good. This is a very good deck.
Okay. I like that. I really do like blue control. It's super fun. It's my play style. I like it.
It's also good against, so like it deals with droids go wide, and now it has more big dudes that can swing into green's defense. So it's got a slightly better matchup against green.
Yep.
And then against red's big dudes, it's a lot easier to just tank a hit from a tapped out secret rare from red and then just heal it off. That's just nothing now. He has a better matchup into red because he's avoiding any of the low ground pretty easily. Right. But he combats the strategy of play one big dude and hit you for one, which is a lot of what red is doing right now.
Okay, for sure. But before we hop into the last one, Vegeta, we all just agree that Vegeta's still the best generic good leader. He just works best with all the best blue generic cards. Swinging 35k is just really, really good. I don't know where he falls on the A tier. God, I want to put him probably here. I want to put him higher, but realistically, in comparison to these other decks here, I think he is. I don't know.
I think realistically, Daima's at the back of A tier. I think he's probably the weakest deck in A tier, but he's still definitely in A tier.
Right.
And I think Goku is between GT Goku is between UI and Vegeta.
Oh. So you're saying Vegeta's kind of second to bottom of.
Yeah. Yeah, but all the margins between these decks is very different based on matchups and everything else. So it's like just being an A tier means you're on par with all the other decks in A tier. Just think of it that way.
Right.
I agree with that.
All right. Final leader, Goku Black. The roguest deck of Rogue, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So this is the deck you play if you want to go to Vegas after your tournament.
Yeah.
Or what are you saying, Jermaine?
It's average, or are you rating it off of its high roll? It's high roll. You
Okay.
got straight to the top of A.
Jesus Christ, you're not kidding.
I'm only quickly kidding, but yeah, no, this deck, everybody knows this deck just when it rolls, oh my goodness, it's crazy.
Yep. No deck beats this if it high rolls you. Like it doesn't. Like even Topku at full power was dying to this deck if it high rolled it. So I mean, like you just literally no deck beats this on high roll, and that's like the reason why some people love it so much, because like by like turn 3 if you're winning the game, and that's like unusual because most blue decks aren't in that position. But this is a really, really, really good deck. It's super fun. It's obviously not like an A tier. It still pops up in like our current tournament results. Like it still gets tops randomly. So like I don't know. Maybe I think as a meme I want to put it in like bottom of B tier because it seems to still get results. But like it's not enough people doing it that I can justify it. So top of C tier, baby. Let's go.
I can't. I promised Jermaine Cell goes in top of C.
No, it's got it.
I don't mind Goku Black.
Yeah, dude, Goku Black's the king of the rogue tier because he's the king of high roll.
Oh,
for sure.
I like this. All right, well, an hour later, we have our list. Everyone feel pretty solid about this? I'm good with it. Yeah, I like this. I think this is a good prediction for next set. Oh man, tomorrow we get the starter decks, and Friday is pre-release, and then oh man, I cannot wait to see the results here. But thank you guys so much for hopping on this. This is really fun to do.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I always love doing this stuff.
Yeah, dude, it's great.
All right, well guys, thank you once again for checking out this video. Make sure to leave a comment about what you think about the tier list. Tell us how we were wrong, because I know there's people that are going to do that. And tell us where we're really wrong, because there's going to be someone in the comments doing that. And make sure to hit the like button, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Take care, everybody.